So this is a project that I worked on last year. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler alert, because although Jared kind of talked it up and said like it eliminates transportation uncertainty, and it does, it just isn't in existence anymore. So this is actually a wonderful talk about failure, which is a little bit about vulnerability on my end, but I'm really excited to talk to you about what we did and how we did it. And this is, we're going to show that anyway, but that's not yet. So, what? It's not in existence yet. It's not, well, we still get to talk about it, so, which is really, really wonderful. So this, what I'm going to talk about is in three different ways. First, just how we were created and how I think that we helped catalyze some movement of technology and helped create a more fertile environment for transportation and transportation tracking in Columbus, as well as the importance of how transportation really mobilizes and empowers communities. And then finally, I'm going to probably end with why, and I know I'm going to end with, why Columbus is positioned to be the global leader in AutoTech innovation, and it'll all come together, and I hope I'm not too verbose today. So this is Omnibus, forward for you, for all. That was made by Brian Vogel. I love this GIF. I could watch it all day. And so really, since it's Thursday, we're going to do a little bit of a TBT. So where did this all start? Well, it started almost exactly a year ago today at Give Back Hack. If you're not familiar, it's a social entrepreneurship hackathon. So whenever you pitch something, it should be an idea and a business that's going to give back to the community. So this idea was pitched by me, and then 7 other random individuals came around me and said, we want to work on this idea with you, which was quite humbling and quite exciting. And so that's our lovely team. And so it was 5 business hustlers, 2 developers, 1 designer, 72 hours, with a simple idea that we should be bringing transit tracking to Columbus, Ohio, because we believed in the mission of creating an interconnected city. And so before I really get into what it all was, I'm just going to let our video speak for itself, and then I'll kind of get into a little bit more of the details about our vision, mission, and purpose. So enjoy this. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, so that was our video that we created during Give Back Hack. And essentially what I love about this video is that it just encompasses everything that we wanted to do. We wanted to be an Uber-like experience for transit tracking, so you could find your bus in real time. At the time, and I want to, because we are looking at February 2016 in Columbus, and a lot has happened in the 360 days that has happened. the CODA was not open sourced. They didn't have an open source platform, and we thought that we could be the solution for a mobile payment and to raise ridership. The cord went dead. But to raise, to raise ridership in Columbus, and by being an interconnected city. So essentially what we did is, Justin Foley is actually here today, and he was our CTO on the project, and we decided that you'd be able to log in to a web-based application in order to actually see the buses on the application. So a CODA bus driver would be able to log in, it would put their bus route on the map, and that's how you would do it. And this is before CODA was open sourced. And it was really wonderful. So Give Back Hack ended on a Sunday. We won that Sunday. On a Tuesday, we were presenting to the CODA board. And from the CODA board, we got really excited and continued to have conversations with them. There we go. So this was the login, and this was our team literally being CODA bus drivers on the map, looking at it, and so then when we got into talks with CODA, we said, hey, we want to put buses on a map. They said, all right, let's become open source. So we got buses on a map. And that was really cool. This happened when I was at work, which is where these screenshots come from at 11:21 a.m. And that was a wonderful win for us. So then where did we go? This is May 2016 now. So we've had lots of conversations with CODA. We've gone really far. We're presenting this mobile solution that I can talk more about later, mobile payment solution. And CODA goes to this really cool conference, and they come back and they say, hey, we know we really liked your mobile payment solution because it was the first time we had ever seen a solution that really worked for us, but you're suggesting a 2 hardware solution. So we said, mount a smart device on your fare boxes, which are 21 years old, by the way, 22 probably this year. Mount the smartphone on your box, and so that way someone can track the bus and pay for it through like a QR code. And CODA said, that's cool. And then they came back and they said, we want to go with a 1 hardware solution, so we're going to opt out of going with you guys. And we said, ooh, okay, but how about transit tracking? Well, transit tracking, they said, hey, what are your other competitors? And we said, ooh, we have this really cool competitor in the north called Transit App. They're a Canadian company. They don't charge anything for transit tracking. They said, ooh, we're going to go with them. So May 2016, I'm in my office, and that's how I felt. And that's kind of where that's where Omnibus went into that. And so where does Omnibus stand today? As I told you, spoiler alert, we don't really exist. I love the 7 other individuals that worked on this. This wouldn't have happened without them. And so, but what does that mean? What were these byproducts? Well, we were kind of an accidental catalyst. First, the CODA became an open source platform. I'm not going to say we were the person that made CODA an open source platform, but we really fueled that fire of saying, hey, we know you're a bureaucracy, but let's get this, be open source. Let's make innovation happen. Let's put buses on a map. And they did it, and it was a really cool thing to see firsthand. And transit tracking is starting in Columbus. Google Maps finally can finally get their GTFS feed. Transit App, you can download it, you can use it. And so there are ways in which we are moving technology forward in Columbus that I would like to put a feather in the Omnibus team cap, because I think that we had a really big push and community push to do that. And I think we were successful because of 3 reasons: the team, the technology, and the community. The technology, really simply, we created a simple solution for a gap that was in Columbus. We didn't have transit tracking. We wanted to bring it here. It's not necessarily revolutionary or innovative, but the fact that we came up with something and that we worked super collaboratively together, maybe that is super innovative, but we made it happen. And then the Omnibus bosses, my team, who I will love forever, like we went so hard and so fast, and we believed that we could create an interconnected Columbus. We believed that we could make things easier for people by eliminating transportation uncertainty, that we could give access to people. This idea that I pitched was more about, I was coming from the Columbus Chamber, which is what I do from my 9-to-5 day job, and it was, how do we get people into jobs? How do we get people to experience different enclaves of cultures in Columbus, because there's so much that this city offers, but how do we just get people to do it? And I think if it's raising ridership in CODA, that's one solution that we can give people, and to also give people access to healthcare and jobs. And it was this mission that we really centered ourselves around, and it was just unbelievable. And then community engagement and support, I'm consistently humbled by people reaching out to me like Ryan and saying, hey, I found this thing called Omnibus. How are you incorporated or involved with this? And I'm like, how did you find this? Because this has not been a thing for a minute or two. And and I love this picture because that is my genuine reaction of us winning a Give Back hack. And I had zero, Justin can say it, like I had zero clue that we were gonna win. I was flabbergasted. And then it was just like lots of community support around, Columbus Underground picked us up, and we just really were hugged by the community, and that felt really wonderful, and it was really cool. And so why is it so important for transportation in our community in Columbus? And I think that if you're having the right team, if you have the right solution and the technology that's tangible, that was the thing. We had a prototype, a demo that was so tangible that people knew that they understood. It was like an Uber-like experience for your buses. Yeah, I'll get on the bus. Yeah, I can do that mobile payment. It was so simple, and then that the community was so supportive of us. I mean, it was just this trifecta that was spiraling and went so fast. I mean, we succeeded extremely fast. We also failed extremely fast, but that's okay. And so why do I also think that Columbus is the global leader? Obviously, the Smart Cities grant. If you're not hip to smart cities, I don't know where you've been living. But get hip to smart cities, because we have $40 million plus $10 million from Vulcan, $40 million from the federal government, $90 million from the private firms and private investment. So there's so much that's going on, at least investing in the community. And then we're basically rebranding the Rust Belt to the Smart Belt, and that is insane. And the Columbus is the epicenter. We're the center of all of this stuff. Mark Kwame says that we're the most innovative city in America, and OSU continues to get grants outside of all of this smart city grant stuff to do more studies on autonomous vehicles. So we're just moving at a velocity that is insane, and I'm glad and very, very, very proud that Omnibus got to be part of that velocity, got to be part of this much of the story about where technology and where transportation's going in Columbus. But I do appreciate, and I'm very humbled to share my failed story of this venture, but it was very fun, and I'm very excited for where Columbus is going. So thank you. Yeah, is there any question? Yeah.
So Columbus being the 15th largest city in the world, or in the country, what other cities are way behind the times with not tracking their buses?
Dayton's trying.
I've lived in Florida for 3 years. They've had it in Florida for 3 years when I lived there.
I mean, I don't know. Dayton's trying. Cincinnati just started to really ramp up their tracking. Cleveland's starting to track. I mean, I'm just talking about Ohio in general, obviously. Pittsburgh has had this and that off at hot and cold attempts. But I mean, transit tracking, if you're in any large metropolitan city, you're going to have transit tracking. I have an entire folder on my phone of of competitors. I'll still call them competitors for transit tracking. I mean, so like you've got California probably has the most diverse transit tracking applications, and we looked at a lot during Give Back Hack, we labored over our competitors. Transit App was probably the one that was the biggest competitor, and they're in the most cities, internationally and in the United States. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you see like a future, I guess, in a single platform that can track multiple levels of transportation, be it both the private and the public, that's like all integrated within one system almost to an extent?
Yeah, I think that Google wants to do that the most. I think that they have the most data and the most capacity to do that in general. But I do think that as more APIs are open, you're going to be able to pull in all of this different data, and it'll. I know that Smart Columbus really wants to create a calculator, which will be really cool. So if you have a calculator that says, "Hey, you want to go from A to B, it'll cost you X to use Uber or Lyft. It'll cost you X to use." The bus, and if we have any, or Kogo. So I know that it wants to aggregate that data as well.
Would there be like a time variable involved with that? Because that'd be really interesting if you could like assign a monetary value to your time that's like automatically integrated into the equation.
Yeah.
Like my time's worth $10 an hour. How much is like an extra hour on the go to those worth?
Right.
Sorry.
So no, that's a really exciting question, and this weekend, tomorrow's a kickoff, but Saturday there's a community engagement session in Linden that's going to be talking about smart apps and what they want to see. So that could be a thing that a person says, like, yeah, I want a calculator, but I also want to know how much time and what it's worth and how that plays out. So it could be a thing in the future for Columbus. Yeah. Thanks for letting me share, guys.
Thank you.